Hey guys, happy Saturday. Hang on a sec. I was just cleaning up some stuff. Oh my god, we have so much to talk about. So much to talk about today. Um it's funny. Like I've told you guys many times that when I was a teenager, I really thought that I was going to go to law school to become a First Amendment lawyer, and my dream was to go work for the ACLU defending free speech. That was literally what the plan was for actually a really long time. And then at some point, it seemed that the battle for free speech had kind of like been won. And I thought that there wasn't really a need for that sort of thing any longer. Like the battles had been fought. Like, it was pretty clear. Like, speech is protected. This was a thing that we were all on board with. And so then I ended up changing my focus of study. I wanted something practical. I was like, I need to be able to get a job, and I studied communication instead. And I just think that it's so funny that this is where we are. This is where we are right now in this country where, you know, I understand because here's what the leftists are going to say. They're going to say, Carlin, the First Amendment only protects against the government censoring your speech, not private organizations. Like, that's what they're going to say. And I understand that. However, this entire year has been a year of lockdowns where people have been told to stay in their house and not leave unless necessary. And we have needed to technology and social media literally became the public square this year. And I don't think that there's any getting around the fact that in order to be involved in the public discourse, you need to be able to be on social media. And so far as I'm concerned, social media companies should be no different than public utilities. Absolutely no different than public utilities. You should not be able to ban people from these services if they are not breaking the law. The only speech that should be able to be censored is speech that is breaking the law. What has happened in the last 24 hours, 36 hours maybe now? What has happened in the last 36 hours is that it is going to create more extremism in this country. That is the only result, because people are going to find a way to talk to it. Listen, Gab, Gab has not had an app in the App Store for years. Does that mean people aren't using Gab? No. Gab, I think, probably had their biggest surge ever in the last 36 hours, because you can go on their website and join that way. It's not that hard. Taking them out of the App Store didn't prevent people from going on Gab. Parler, the same thing. Parler is probably going to get banned today from the App Store. They got banned from Google Play yesterday. That's not going to prevent people from using Parler. It's not. People are going to find a way to communicate, and now they're saying that, Trump tweeted yesterday that he's thinking about developing a platform, and immediately it was like, boom. Twitter took the tweet down. People are going to find a way to communicate. It is what it is. And what is going on with the tech censorship is that it is only going to make people more extreme. Listen, I am a very centrist person. I'm a person that believes in compromise. I'm a person that believes in giving up some of what you want in order to give other people a win. And they might not do what I want them to do, but at least if I give them a win, that means they're going to be more inclined to compromise in the future and give me a win. I believe that compromise is the only way forward. And people like me who are trying to be sensible, who are trying to say that we need to talk to each other, it is damn near impossible right now. I cannot tell you the extremism on both sides. The extremism on both sides. And both sides have a point. I'm sorry. Like, I don't agree at all with what the left is doing. I don't. But I think that we need to see things as much from their perspective as we want them to see it from our perspective. And they have the real enemy in this entire equation is the media that has fooled half of the American people into thinking that Donald Trump is a Nazi. That is the real cause of it. Donald Trump is a dictator. Guys, dictators can't be silenced by being banned off Twitter. If Trump was really a dictator, we would be having an entirely different conversation right now. It is not true at all, but half of the country has been fooled into believing and I'm already saying shit take Carolyn, shit take I don't care. I don't care. Go listen to someone that's going to feed you the lies that you want to hear. I don't care. Because people like this who will say, I'm going to unfollow you, I'm going to unsubscribe because I don't like your opinion. You are part of the goddamn problem. It is, I have been beating we are family, I'm out. We are family, I don't give a fuck. Because you started all this saying, don't yell at us today, I don't care. And I'm already seeing people in the chat saying, bad take, Carolyn, I'm unsubscribing. Go listen to someone else. Go listen to someone that will lie to you. That's all that you're doing, is asking people to lie to you. That's it. I have been beating my head on my desk for the past day and a half, trying to communicate sensibly with people. Because one side wants war and the other side is acting like they want war. But let's talk about censorship for a second, because here's what we know. In the last 24 hours, Twitter has banned, well, I thought it was 60,000 people at first. I thought it was 60,000, but I just saw a tweet from James Woods saying that he's down 137,000 followers since yesterday. 137,000 followers. And I'm sure that's not all that they've banned. Twitter is actively unpersoning people right now. Twitter, Jack Dorsey said 2 years ago that he envisioned Twitter as being the public square. Well, guess what? When you are banning people from the public square, many of them who did not break the law, what you're doing is unpersoning them. This is literally 1984. We are seeing it come to reality right in front of our very eyes. And this is the thing that is most terrifying to me. I really thought that this was, I mean, maybe I was naive, I don't know, but I thought decades ago that this was a problem that had already been solved. We had already had the free speech discussion. We had already come to some conclusions about that. Apparently not. Apparently not. Because now the most powerful institutions in this country, not the government. The government is not the most powerful institution in the country anymore. It is big tech. This is where we are. They are more powerful than the president of the United States. This is where we are. So I see your super chats coming in, and I do thank you for that. And I will be reading all the super chats before the day is done. But where I want to start off today is I found an old brochure from the ACLU. And I want us to have a little look at this brochure. I want us to read this brochure together. Now, it's probably going to come up really small on the screen, which is why we're going to read it. But this is an old brochure from the ACLU. I'm not exactly sure of when this brochure is from, but I just want to point something out. This is the organization that used to defend civil liberties. And this is a brochure that says why the ACLU defends free speech for unpopular groups. History teaches us that group libel laws are used to oppress minorities, not to protect them. For example, none of the anti-Semites who were responsible for arousing France against Captain Alfred Dreyfus was ever prosecuted for group libel, but Émile Zola was prosecuted for libeling the military establishment and the clergy of France in his magnificent J'accuse, and had to flee to England to escape punishment. Why would someone who detests the Nazis and the KKK support defense of their right to speak? In a society of laws, the principles established in dealing with racist views necessarily apply to all. The ACLU defended the right of Father Terminello, a suspended Catholic priest, to give a racist speech in Chicago. In 1949, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed with our position in a decision that is a landmark in the history of free speech. Time and again, the ACLU was able to rely on the decision of Terminello versus Chicago in defending free speech rights for demonstrators for civil rights demonstrators in the Deep South. The Supreme Court cited its own decision in Terminello in its leading decision on behalf of civil rights demonstrators, Cox versus Louisiana and Edwards versus South Carolina. Summarily, the Supreme Court's decision in 1969 in Brandenburg v. Ohio, upholding free speech for the KKK, was the principal decision relied upon by a lower court the following year in overturning the conviction of Benjamin Spock for opposing the draft. The principles of the First Amendment are indivisible. Extend them on behalf of one group, and they protect all groups. Deny them to one group, and all groups suffer. Doesn't providing racist and totalitarians with legal defense give publicity to their cause and their ideas that they would otherwise not receive? It is the attempts by the communities to prevent such people from expressing themselves that gives them the press coverage they would ordinarily not receive. If providing a legal defense for their constitutional rights results in the continuation of the publicity, that it is unavoidable consequence of the events that were set in motion by the original denial of First Amendment guarantees. A fact that seems understood by those who take a restrictive view towards speech does not necessarily like that it attempts at suppression ordinarily increase public awareness in the ideas they are trying to stomp out. But doesn't the ACLU have more important things to do with its limited resources than to defend racists and totalitarians? The ACLU has many important jobs to do, and it devotes its resources to a wide range of civil liberties concerns: sexual equality, racial justice, religious freedom, the freedom to control one's body, the constitutional rights of students, prisoners, mental patients, service personnel, juveniles, the elderly, and the right of privacy for all of us. Thousands of court cases are undertaken each year by the ACLU to protect those rights. But among the most important freedoms we are dedicated to defending are those of speech, press, and assembly, for they are the bedrock on which all other rights rest. We are involved in only a handful of cases each year to defend free speech for racists and totalitarians. Even though this is only a tiny fraction of the ACLU's work, we think it's important. We cannot remain faithful to the First Amendment by turning our backs when it is put to the severest test: the right to freedom of speech for those whose views we despise most. Why does the ACLU defend free speech for unpopular groups such as Nazis, Ku Klux Klan members, and others who advocate racist and totalitarian doctrines? Because we believe that the constitutional guarantees of freedom of speech and press would be meaningless if the government could pick and choose the persons to whom they apply. The ACLU's responsibility since its founding in 1920 has been to make sure that we are all free to speak, no matter what their ideas. In what circumstances does the ACLU defend the rights of such people? The ACLU defends the rights of such persons to make speeches in which they express their beliefs, to print and to distribute written material, to hold peaceful marches and rallies, to display their symbols, and to be members of groups which promote their doctrines. I can see I should have read this page first, but we're going to go back. I'm going to read the whole thing, guys. I think that this is really important to understand. Has the ACLU always defended such people? Yes, always. The ACLU's very first annual report describes a case in which the ACLU defended free speech for the KKK. We had been defending free speech for these groups and all others ever since. ACLU defense is when the views of some people are unpopular and the government interferes with their ability to express their views peacefully. In times and places where the views of civil rights activists, pacifists, religious, and political dissenters, labor organizers, and others have been unpopular, the ACLU has insisted on their right to speak. Throughout the history of the ACLU, we have adhered to Voltaire's principle that I may disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. But does the First Amendment protect even those who urge the destruction of freedom? Does it extend to those who advocate the overthrow of our democratic forms of government or who espouse violence? In 1969, in the ACLU case involving a KKK leader who had urged at a rally in Hamilton County, Ohio, that Black Americans be sent back to Africa, the United States Supreme Court unanimously established the principle that speech may not be restrained or punished unless it is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. In this and in earlier cases involving advocates of the draft resistance in World War II, the Supreme Court made it clear that before a speaker can be suppressed, there must be a clear and present danger that the audience will act illegally and do what the speaker urges and not just believe in what is advocated. When Nazis and others choose to demonstrate in places like Skokie, Illinois, where hundreds of survivors of the concentration camps live, are they not creating a clear and present danger of violent reactions? Speaking or marching before a hostile audience is not the same thing as inciting a sympathetic crowd to engage in illegal acts. The audience is not being urged to become violent and do bodily harm to the demonstrators. Hostile crowds must not be allowed to exercise a veto power over the speech of others by themselves creating a clear and present danger of disorder. Otherwise, any of us could be silenced if people do not like our ideas, decided to start a riot. It is common practice for speakers and demonstrators to carry their messages to hostile audiences, perhaps in the hope of making conversations, perhaps to attract attention, or perhaps to test the potential for restraint or for ugliness in their adversaries. In hundreds of cases, the ACLU has defended the right to speak, even when speakers were so unpopular that their opponents reacted violently. The Wobblies carried their unionization message to the western mining towns. The message was so unpopular that some of them were lynched. Jehovah's Witnesses distributed their tracts in Roman Catholic neighborhoods. They were stoned. Norman Thomas spoke in Mayor Frank Hoag's New Jersey City. He was pelted with eggs and narrowly escaped serious violence. Civil rights activists in the 1960s chose to demonstrate in Mississippi and Alabama. Some of them were murdered. Opponents of the Vietnam War picketed military bases. Many of them were beaten. Martin Luther King Jr. marched in the most racist neighborhoods of Chicago, and there was racial violence. The duty of the government is to permit speech and to restrain those who would disrupt it violently. Opponents of a point of view must be free to have their say and not to make any public place off limits for speech they do not like. But isn't a demonstration in an intensely hostile area the same as falsely shouting fire in a crowded theater? Speaking or marching with offensive messages in public places is not at all the same as falsely shouting fire in a crowded theater. The members of the theater are not in a tightly enclosed area where a panic would almost certainly follow a sudden and unexpected cry of danger before any contrary view could be heard. They have come to the scene freely, probably knowing what to expect, and may freely turn away if they are upset by what they see or hear. Just as speakers have the right to express themselves, listeners have the right to ignore, or if they choose to hold peaceful counter demonstrations. Hasn't the Supreme Court said that certain kinds of communication, like hurling epithets at one another or at another person, are so likely to lead to fighting that the speaker and not the audience is responsible? Isn't the display of a swastika or a burning cross the same as such fighting words? The Supreme Court has made it clear that speech can be punished as fighting words only if it is directed at another person in an individual face-to-face encounter. The court has never applied the fighting words concept to non-verbal symbols displayed before a general audience, like the display of a swastika or a peace symbol or a burning cross of an effigy of a political leader. Why do the ACLU and the courts believe that the prior restraints on free speech are so much worse than punishments after a speech has been made? Prior restraint not only prevent entirely the expression of the would-be speaker, but they also deprive the public of its right to know what the speaker would have said. When Nixon tried to impose prior restraint on the Pentagon Papers, they told us that the publication would injure the national security. When the Pentagon Papers were published, we discovered that they exposed misdeeds by the government. They did no damage to national security. And then we have the last question here. If the purpose of the First Amendment is to ensure the free throw of ideas and what value that the processes are uttered, whatever. I already read the answer to that. It's up here. The point I want to make with all of this is that there was a time that we understood this. There was a time that we as a country understood that when you defend the most deplorable speech imaginable, you protect speech for the rest of us. Now, the ACLU actually, interestingly enough, did come out with a statement about Donald Trump being banned off Twitter. And if you just give me a second here, I'm going to find that statement because it was wishy-washy. It was not the ACLU that was in that brochure, but it was an interesting moment of clarity. Hang on, I'm just scrolling down on my Twitter to actually be able to find it. Oh, goodness. Give me a sec, guys. Please be patient. I know I should have had this pulled up before, but I just didn't. Ah, found it. Okay. Okay, hang on. Coming back here. There we go. This is what the ACLU said of Trump's censorship. We understand the desire to permanently suspend him now, but it should concern everyone when companies like Facebook and Twitter yield the unchecked power to remove people from platforms that have become indispensable for the speech of billion. And I want you to really think about that term, indispensable for the speech of billions, especially when political realities make those decisions easier. And this was Kate from the ACLU Senior Legislative Council in a statement. President Trump can turn to his press team or Fox News to communicate with the public, but others, like many Black and Brown and LGBTQ activists who have been censored by social media, will not have that luxury. Now, we can rag on Kate for making the woke argument, but I just want to point out that this is literally exactly the same argument that they made in this brochure where they were defending the rights of the most deplorable speech imaginable. And this is not what you think. Like, I don't care what you think of Donald Trump, guys. I really don't in this case. We're looking at the principle here. I want to read this again. I want to read this question here again. Why would someone who detests the Nazis and the KKK support defense of their right to speak? And think about that statement that we just saw from the ACLU that was woke, but had right here, President Trump can turn his press team or Fox News to communicate with the public, but others, like many Black, Brown, LGBTQ activists who have been censored by social media companies, will not have that luxury. Here's how they answered that question in this brochure. In a society of laws, the principles established in dealing with racist views necessarily apply to all. The ACLU defended the rights of Father Terminello, a suspended Catholic priest, to give a racist speech in Chicago. In 1949, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed that our position in a decision in this landmark case in the history of free speech, time and again, the ACLU was able to rely on the decision in Terminello v. Chicago to defend free speech for civil rights demonstrators in the South. The Supreme Court cited its own decision in Terminello in its leading decisions on behalf of civil rights demonstrators, Cox v. Louisiana, Edwards v. South Carolina. Summarily, the Supreme Court decision in 1969 in Brandenburg v. Ohio upholding free speech for the KKK was the principal decision relied upon by the lower court of the following year in overturning the conviction of Benjamin Spock for opposing the draft. The principles of the First Amendment are indivisible. Extend them on behalf of one group, and they protect all groups. Deny them to one group, and all groups suffer. The ACLU seems to remember a little bit of this. And while I think their statement is wishy-washy at best, and they have not defended free speech for a while now, they haven't, I think it's really important to consider this context. These used to be principles that we understood. When you protect speech for the people that you disagree with most, you protect it for everybody. 137,000 people got banned off of Twitter yesterday, according to the follower count lost by James Woods, and it's probably significantly more than that. People are losing tens of thousands of followers, either because they're being purged or they're leaving on their own and they're going to other platforms. And when they're on their other platforms, they're only going to see and hear from people who agree with them, which is just going to make the already extremist views of some people get even more extreme. I don't know why this is so hard to understand. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. The precedent that has been set in the last 36 hours is dangerous to the fundamental liberties that this country was founded on. We know that Elijah Schaffer who is a journalist with Blaze TV, is being attacked by CNN for doing his job and reporting what happened at the Capitol. We know that CNN is actively advocating for Fox News to be taken off the air. I have never been so afraid for this country in my life. I have never been so afraid of what is going to happen because I don't know the way out of this. If we can't agree on the basics, that speech should be protected and that it's not okay to ban people because you disagree with their opinion, then I don't know where we go from here. I really don't. Well, I will say this. Well, I have a captive audience. I am on alternative platforms, and I would ask you guys to please follow me on those platforms. I'm on Locals. Locals is the primary place that I would ask for you to follow me because it's Dave Rubin's platform, and I know that it will never be censored, and you'll never get kicked off for having an unpopular opinion. So please follow me on Locals, kb.locals.com. You can also find me on Parler, Minds, Gab, CloudHub. I'm Carlin on all those platforms, just my first name. Someone asked, am I on Odyssey? I'm on Odyssey. I've been on Odyssey for a while, actually. I want to say this, though. YouTube has not demonetized a single thing that I posted about the Capitol and what happened. They have not demonetized a single thing. So I'm not particularly scared of being kicked off YouTube right now. I'm not. I'm actually not even particularly worried about the other platforms. I'm sure I'll probably get banned eventually. I'm most worried about Facebook and Instagram. I really just like a personal perspective, like I just don't want to lose, especially Instagram, all the photos I have on there. So I'm really not just going to be posting on there much because they're already threatening to delete my account for I posted pictures of people being peaceful and sitting on the grass and not really doing anything at the Capitol, and that's not allowed. That's not allowed. And they threatened to delete my account for that. So I don't know where we go from here, guys. I do know that we need to, from my perspective, I think that the only way to move past this is that we have to start de-escalating. We do. Now, both sides have responsibility here. Joe Biden, if the Democrats have any desire to avoid civil war at all, Joe Biden needs to pick up the phone today and call Nancy Pelosi and call Chuck Schumer and to tell them to stop. That is the only way out of this. If Donald Trump gets removed from office, I think that's game over. If Donald Trump is removed from office via the 25th Amendment, I think that's game over. Because they still haven't wrapped their heads around the fact that the 74 million Americans that voted for Donald Trump are not horrible, racist people, and they deserve to have their voices heard, and they deserve to have their questions answered. And I'm not talking about people who were violent. I'm talking about the people who peacefully showed up. That's what I'm talking about. If the Democrats don't stop, I don't see a fix to this, but we have a role in this as well. And here's the alarmism that I don't like. This is I've heard this for the last 24 hours everywhere. De-escalate, so roll over so they kill us. Did I say that? No, didn't say that. That's being alarmist. That's being alarmist. That is just as unhelpful as anything else. Believing that this is like that we're all going to get banned to the gulag at any moment, that's not realistic. That's not realistic. It doesn't help, guys. In order for there to be any successful resolution to this problem, then all of us need to come to the table and calm the F down. We need to create space for there to be a resolution. If we are unwilling, if you are unwilling to create space for there to be a peaceful resolution to all of this, then you are just as much part of the problem as the left. And I don't care if you don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. If you are unwilling to consider that there is a peaceful resolution to all of this, then you are no better than the Democrats. And I'm not going to defend you. I'm not. I'm not. I left the insanity of the left for a reason, and I did not leave it to join a completely identical insanity on the right. Someone said that I should do a stream with Nico. I think that's actually a really good idea because I know that Nico doesn't agree with the censorship. I know he doesn't agree with it. So maybe I will try to get Nico on this channel. We'll see. I want to say for this, so I don't know how many walkaway people are here. If you didn't hear the news yesterday, the walkaway group on Facebook got banned. This was completely ridiculous. This is a complete and total overstep. The group was completely taken down. Every single person who was an admin on the group, which included walkaway paid staff members as well as volunteers, their personal profiles got completely banned off the platform. They were disappeared yesterday. Now, what's important to understand about the banning of the walkaway group is that every single post in that group was either a video testimonial or a written testimonial about why someone left the Democratic Party. That was it. That was what got approved to be posted in the group. That was it. Walkaway was a complete nonviolent organization. We have held rallies all over the country for months. There has never been, excuse me, there's never been one instance of violence perpetrated by a walkaway member. The only violence that ever occurred was when BLM showed up at our rallies and physically threatened us. That was it. It's a completely peaceful movement, and Facebook banned it and everyone associated with it unilaterally. This is what we are dealing with. This is insanity. This is going to get a whole lot worse if frankly, if A, we don't start making the proactive effort to de-escalate it, and B, the tech companies are not brought under some sort of control. And the Republicans, I'm sorry, the Republicans shit the bed on this one. They had every opportunity to do it, and they didn't. They didn't. Just like with the voter laws, guys, the Republicans shit the bed on this one too. They had every opportunity all throughout 2020 to fight this problem. And what did they do? They waited. They could have fixed this problem. And you know what? For people like me that have been actively fighting this, they sold us out. They sold all of us out by not addressing these problems. The Republican Party is responsible for this just as much as the Democratic Party. And we're the ones that are ultimately going to end up paying the price. And believe me, I am pissed off at everyone on both sides right now. It is unconscionable what has happened. And this is part of the bigger picture that a lot of people on the left do not understand, is the people that were at the Capitol the other day a lot of them were just as pissed off at the Republicans as they were at the Democrats. It was not about staging a coup. That was never, at least for me, and every single person that I talked to and every single person I was around, it was not about that. That was not the goddamn goal. Now, were there foolish people that were being idiots? Yeah. But that wasn't the goal for most of the people there. And a few people have now put us on our goddamn heels and have turned the tech companies into 1984 Big Brother wannabes. And they already were there. They already wanted to do it. And now they had their excuse. This was so stupid. I cannot even I can't even. All right, let me take a look at the super chats. Let me see what you guys have to say. Let's see. Oh, Deandra became a new member. Thank you for becoming a member, Deandra. Guys, becoming a member on my channel. I literally just launched the memberships, I think, last week. It is a way to help support me and the work that I'm trying to do, and I really do appreciate it. Now, I will say that I always prefer you to become a member in my locals where you get all my videos ad-free, but I also understand that people don't necessarily want to leave this platform and go to a whole separate platform, which is why I turned on membership, and I do greatly appreciate everyone that becomes a member on the channel. The man behind the screen says, when you make free speech impossible, you make violence inevitable. We've had this lesson beat into us multiple times in history, but they won't effing learn. That is exactly correct. Emily L says, it's refreshing to hear you say both sides have a point. The only way we can grow and to improve is to accept constructive criticism. Well, I'm trying, Emily, but I'm going to tell you what, there are a lot of people on the right who don't want to hear it. There are a lot, and I really, more people need to speak up and say it, because it can't just be people like me. It can't. Like, I am beating my head against the wall here, and I feel like I'm the only one saying this and trying to take a nuanced approach to this. And more people need to be speaking up. And I don't care if you think you have a platform, you still need to be speaking up. No, David. First off, my name has a Y in it. It's literally in the title of the channel. Secondly, I'm not saying I expect a fair fight. I'm saying I expect people to fight smart. I mean, I don't he will make me understand. I've listened to Michael Malice. I happen to not agree with Michael Malice on a lot of things. I agree with him on many things. There are many things I don't agree with him on. So no, he will not make me understand. The word choice there was unfortunate. Let me get back to the super chats. Gaily R, thank you for the super chat. Wild Rose, I don't have to agree with everything you say to listen to you, which is rather different, which is rather the difference between me and a leftist. I think war is inevitable. A lot of people on the right don't want to hear from people who disagree with them. I'll tell you that. Robert Wills says, I was trying to tell you I had no heat, not no heart. Have a blessed day. And I think you meant love or life, doing what you're doing what you love. And thanks for all you do for us, Carlin. Thank you, Robert. Sarosi says, the big tech LARPing as heroes brings us tyranny. Yeah, that's exactly right. And frankly, the journalist cheering on the censorship and the banning, they're no better. They're no better. Acoustic Theory says they have their excuse now for the ideological purge they have longed for. That is exactly right. And guys, listen, let's be realistic for a second. They were always going to find an excuse. They were always going to find an excuse. It was inevitable that they were going to find an excuse. If there had been nothing at the Capitol the other day, they would have said, even just the speech at the White House, they would have said, oh, it was a coup, blah, 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 blah. Like, they would have made it an excuse. It was always going to happen. I do believe that. But, you know, we're here now, and this is what we have to deal with. And we have to fight peacefully. Peacefully. I will never condone violence. Peacefully for what we want. Beefy Mick what now says, when you tear out a man's tongue, you are not proving him a liar. You're only telling him the world that you fear. You're only telling the world that you fear what he might say. Yes, that's correct. Amber Bailey says, you are true to who you are. Screw the haters. I stand with you. Thank you, Amber. I do appreciate that. And guys, I want to say this. I know when I'm yelling at you guys about the people that are being ridiculous, I understand it is a very small percentage of the people. I understand that. I understand that when Lex here comes in and says, Carlin, are you really still this naive? I understand that is a very small percentage of people. I understand that. I do. But you have to understand that I hear this all day, every day, all day, every day, on every platform. And it's either like I have one of two choices. Either I stop looking at the responses altogether, or like, I mean, I just wish that more people would be speaking up and talking sense. To be really blunt, I wish more people would be speaking up and talking sense, because I am at the point where it really does seem like the best solution to just not look at replies at all, not look at the comments at all. And that's not what I want. I don't, because there are so many people in my audience and my following that I love. And I love having conversations with you guys, and I love hearing your perspective, but it's when it's constant all day every day with this ridiculous nonsense, like I have to maintain my own sanity too, guys. Vanessa Stuller says, I don't always agree with you, but we don't have to agree on everything. That's exactly correct. SoCal Gunner says Alex Jones was right again. I mean, I don't know. I don't really listen to Alex Jones, so I have no idea. Cold Summer 91 says this is a good time to start using alt check like BitChute and Rumble. I am not going to use BitChute because BitChute's importer does not work. I am not going to use Rumble because Rumble is a shitty platform that is not monetizing my content. Here, guys, I'll even bring it up for you. Hang on, I'll even show you. I will show you live on this channel why I am not using Rumble. You just take a second here. Because I was uploading to Rumble for like 2 weeks. I uploaded for 2 straight weeks to Rumble. And you want to know what happens when you upload to Rumble? I'm going to show you the back end here because I'm sick of hearing it. I'm going to show you the back end. Here is my Rumble, and you can see that I have 3 videos monetized, and the rest of them, after weeks, are still waiting to be monetized. Almost all of these videos are monetized on YouTube, but they won't be monetized by Rumble. You want to know how much I've actually made? Let's see. I don't even think I can have a payment. I don't even think I can have that. Oh, I don't even know how to get to it. The last time I looked, how much money I had made on Rumble was 26 cents. Because they're not monetizing everything. They're not monetizing anything. So until Rumble gets its act together, no, I will not be using Rumble. If Rumble built an importer, I would have no problem at all setting that up. The importer on BitChute does not work. I've tried numerous times to get it to work. It is not working. When Rumble sets up an importer, I will be more than happy to do it because it won't take any additional effort. But until then, I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. It's too much work. Like, there are already 87,000 platforms. I'm one person. Okay? I'm one person. I have a limited amount of time in my day. I don't have employees or assistants to help me out, man. I have to do this all on my own. No, I don't believe that's true. I'm sorry. I don't believe this is true. And people need to stop believing this. I don't believe this is true. I don't feel like I'm in danger. I don't. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. We're going to see. But if you anticipate that you're going to get banned, yes, you probably will. That is exactly right. And that's what I believe. All right. Let me see. Let me get back to super chats. Maybe Baby says you are doing a great job and you are 100% right. Well, I don't know about 100%, but I appreciate the sentiment. Elizabeth Barlow says, I think politicians are going to realize that they're not in control. We think it's just China, but it's the UN. The UN was the death knell of individualism. I think that that is probably a really accurate observation. James Weston says the left is calling for re-education camps. Sound like concentration camps in World War II. Yeah, dude, let me show you guys. Oh my God, this one tweet that James Lindsay found right before I went on air. Let me show you guys this. I just have to pull it up real quick. This was a reply to the insane Jennifer Rubin. Jennifer says, any R's now promoting rejection of an election or calling to not follow the will of the voters or making baseless allegations of fraud should never serve in office, join a corporate board, find a faculty position, or be accepted into polite society. We have a list, which of course Jennifer Rubin is a crazy person who should not be listened to. But then you have this guy, Climate Warrior 7, who responded, Republicans should be made to work in communal camps installing solar cells and wind farms. They need to learn the value of compassion and tolerance. through hard work. Dude, you think that people on the right don't understand compassion and tolerance, and you think that they don't understand hard work? He's literally calling for a gulag right there. He's literally calling for a goddamn gulag. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. I cannot even. Does this feel like a surreal reality to anyone else? Does this feel surreal? I don't feel like this is real life. I really don't. I don't feel like this is real life in any way, shape, or form. All right, guys, I'm going to keep going with the super chats, but if you're enjoying the stream so far, please hit that thumbs up button. I have 1,400 people watching right now. I only have 600 thumbs up, so either you guys are really sick of me yelling at you or you just haven't hit that thumbs up yet, so I'd really appreciate that. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, hey man, I might get banned off YouTube soon, so better late than never. But now's the time, man. So please subscribe to the channel. I do daily content around these issues, and obviously I think I'm going to be talking a lot about this for a while now, but I'm also going to be focusing in on the critical theory stuff, the woke stuff. I've got a lot of good projects coming up for that, and if you want to keep in touch, if I happen to get booted off of social media, one of the best things you can do, and I'll even show you, I'll bring this up as well, one of the best things that you can do to make sure that you can support my work in case I get banned or anything is go over to drkarlyn.com. That's DRKARLYN.com. And you have links to all of my other social media. You also have this email box. So if you put your email in that little box, I'm going to be able to get in touch with you. I will not sell your email. I'm not even emailing out to people anymore, but it will add you, or I'm not even emailing out right now. I have no like email marketing going out or anything, but it's just a way to have a list to get in touch with people in case I need to. So drkarlyn.com, scroll down, just put your email in the little box and it'll really help me out and help me to keep in touch with you. And I really appreciate it. All right, let me go back to super chats. Taglatail LW says, in my opinion, we need to, 1, form a third party and raise money to compete with the Democrats and the GOP. I literally just got off a call where I know at least 2 different groups that are talking about forming a third party at this point, so I would say that that is probably going to happen. 2, boycott corporations, including Walmart, etc. 3, no violence. We need to be smart. 4, vote for patriots on off-cycle elections. 5, alt tech. I agree with every single one of those suggestions. And I especially agree with the no violence suggestion. No violence, people. We now know exactly what the left is going to do anytime they're given an opportunity. The Republican Party needs to die a slow, horrible death. They betrayed their voters. And I'm not talking about the election stuff. I'm talking about leading up to the election where they did nothing to fix the voting systems. They did nothing to prevent this. They did nothing around big tech when we were begging them to over and over and over and over again. That is what I'm talking about when I say the Republicans betrayed their people. They did. They were irresponsible. And frankly, Donald Trump deserves some of the blame for that because he could have pushed harder on this. He said all this was going to happen and he was right. And no one did anything about it. And I don't know if it was just passing the buck or what it was, or if they were so convinced that he was going to win in a landslide that they just didn't even bother to try. I don't know what, but what I know of many aspects of the GOP, the RNC, is that they are effed on the inside. They are. They do not talk to the right people. They do not use all of the talent that they have at their disposal. And this is their fault. Just as much as it is the Democrats. All right, let me keep going with the super chats. Maggie Ellis says, my husband says I'm not allowed to watch this stream on censorship. Bye, LMAO. Just kidding. Guys, my husband is now on Parler. If anyone wants to follow my husband on Parler, he is Vic Borisenko. I parlayed about him earlier. I'm just Carlin on Parler, just my first name. Malty Drider says the censorship we have is one reason I recommend Demolition Man to people to watch because it seems to predict a lot of future like speech regulations. Oh, dude. Joshua, you guys know Joshua. I do a show with him every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Joshua has never seen Demolition Man. And I feel like I need to fly out to Los Angeles specifically to duct tape him to a chair and to force him to watch Demolition Man. That's kind of how I feel about that. Julian McBain says, "We have to keep fighting for the Bill of Rights, no matter how dark the dystopia gets. Thank you for continuing to be a torch in the darkness." Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try. I think that free speech is something that is worth fighting for. This is a hill I will die on, and I am not going to let this up. And this is free speech for everyone, guys. Listen, I support, and this will be unpopular, I support Black Lives Matter's right to peacefully protest. I completely support their right to peacefully protest. I do not support looting. I do not support rioting. I do not support vandalism. I do not support them going into a restaurant and forcing people to hold up a fist. I don't support any of that. Do I support their right to peacefully protest, though, to walk down the street, to carry their signs, to chant their chants? Yes, I do. I do. Because that's the only way it's going to work. The only way to protect our right to protest is to protect everyone's right to protest. Zachary, do not say that again in my chat. Zachary Folsom, do not say that again. In fact, you're gonna get pointed timeout. Do not say that again in my chat. Do not. Do not advocate for violence in my chat. If I see it, do not. Nunya Biz says the cathedral and leftists sit at the seats of power in the US government, banking, and media companies. They're playing their hand after everyone slept for years. Yep. Might Be Batman says, "So glad I found you. I follow you on other platforms. Don't leave us. We need you." I mean, I'm not going to go anywhere, guys. I'm going to keep fighting because this is too important, but I need your help here. I need your help. I need you to behave like reasonable human beings. I need you to stop being extremist. I need you to participate in this. Because I can't. You know, Lane's making fun. Mommy is mad. You know what, dude? This was not what I wanted to do with my life. It's not. This was not the goddamn plan. And I'm doing it anyway. And so I will walk away from this in a second if I stop believing that there are people that I believe in to fight for. And right now I'm having a really hard time. And I know you're out there. I know there are people to fight for. I know this. That are good people, that are reasonable people, that are sensible people. But right now, I'm having a really difficult time dedicating all my days to this fight when I feel like no one on either side is actually being reasonable. I gave up a lot to do this. Acoustics Theory says, "Be smart about this. The left needs violence to justify their narrative of absolute control." Well, guess what, dude? Just because the left is probably going to descend to do that because they did it all flipping summer, it doesn't mean we need to be like the left. It doesn't mean we need to act the same. Fallen Star, thank you for the super chat. MJ says, "Keep speaking truth. I never agree 100% with either side, but take the best of both sides to make them great." MJ also says, "I remind myself we are to love our neighbors because we are all flawed and sinful, but allowing grace to those who disagree with me gives me peace." Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm you, you're me. The way I treat you reflects the way I treat myself. Grim Beard says, "Do you agree that a nonviolent solution would be for states to secede?" No. First off, because that's not going to be nonviolent. Let's just be clear about that. Like, if that happens, that's not going to be nonviolent. But yeah. Oh, look at this. Post American. "I'm unsubscribing because I'm a little snowflake. Good riddance. Bye." I have no problem mocking people who are being unreasonable. If you want to be a self-righteous douche, I don't really care. We have passed the point where I care, guys. We've passed that point. Do I think states should secede? No. I was actually just on a show talking about this. I don't think that that is the right thing to do. I think that that's only going to create more extremism. That's only going to create more echo chambers. Diversity of thought is a good thing. What we need to do is to, and I don't even know how to do this, guys. I don't know how to do this, but there needs to be a way to de-escalate this. And frankly, I'm going to say this too. I think that the amount of censorship that's going on is going to wake a lot of people on the left up. I really do. You don't think, like, most of the people on the left do not agree with censorship. Some of them do, the really loud ones do. Yeah, the loud ones do. The ones that are screaming the loudest do. But a lot of them don't. I originally became a Democrat because I believed in free speech and they were the party defending it. You don't think there are a lot of Democrats that believe in free speech? Of course there are. You don't think that this censorship has them rattled? I got an email from a progressive yesterday, a lefty, saying, Carlin, the walkaway banning was way too far. They're seeing this. They're seeing this and they're not comfortable with it either. This is going to wake a lot of people up and it might actually provide the opportunity to finally have a productive conversation on this. Let me see. Oh, super chat jump. Hang on. Thank you guys for the support. I really do appreciate it. I'm just going back to find my place. Okay. Fallen Star says, we need to move away from fear and stop playing a role in the drama triangle and move to a space where creative solutions are possible. That is exactly correct, Fallen Star. I'm listening says the walkaway movement now appeals to both Democrats and Republicans. I think it's a great name for a new party. You might get your wish on that. Andrea Lewandowski says, as a wise person told me over and over, it's the few who ruin it for the many. Yep, that's true. MB says stigmatization leads to a self-fulfilling prophecy and dehumanization or demonetization/dehumanization leads to justifying violence. Lieutenant Colonel Grossman, PhD in psychology, talks about this in his book on war and on killing. So maybe we should check those out. Fran Marie says we need to be as vocal as the other side about what we expect from Congress. We don't believe we are heard. We need to write, email, call our congresspeople almost every single day. It's time to do the same. That is exactly correct. Listen, I was begging you guys for months to do this. I was begging you to, because I understand. Because I came from the left. This is what the left does. I was begging you for months to do this, and what I heard was, Carlin, we vote. We vote. That's all we do. We vote. We are the silent majority. We vote. I told you what was going to happen. You didn't listen, man. Some of you did. A lot of you didn't. And maybe you needed this to finally start listening. Ashley Clare says, I joined your local, still learning how to use it. Cooler heads must prevail. We need a new party called Somewhere in the Middle. Well, thank you, Ashley, for joining my locals. Guys, I just had the bright idea literally 30 seconds before I came on the air that I want to start a free speech movie club in my locals where we watch a movie about free speech and then we talk about it or maybe have a live chat going through it. So if you want to be a part of that, join my locals, kb.locals.com. You can join for free, but if you want to do discussions or, I do Zoom calls twice a week with my locals. If you want to do any of that, then you're going to need to sign up to be a supporter, which is $5 a month. So, but you can join for free and kind of just see what it's all about if you want to just check it out, kb.locals.com. And you will never be censored on there and you will never be banned on there unless you get really out of line and insult me or try to do something that's crazy, and then I'll talk to you about it first. But I don't plan on banning people unless I absolutely have to as like a last resort. Suzette, thank you for the super chat. Acoustic Theory says, if you use open violence, then you will give them the excuse to do everything to you that they've always wanted to do. That's exactly correct. Scott Woodford says, if COVID wasn't around, none of this would happen. The summer riots and this. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think that it is very clear that the Democratic Party used COVID for all that they could. They used it for every advantage that they could. They prolonged it. They locked people down. They created this situation. It is completely on the Democrats, so far as I'm concerned. The economy should have been opened back up months and months and months and months ago, and now we're going to have another year of this. It's going to be another full year. They've already said this. It's going to be another full year. And it's going to hurt a lot of people. And if you don't have some sort of side hustle on the internet, you need to figure that out. Diversify your income. Guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. Everyone needs to figure out ways to diversify their income, have more than one stream of income. If you like, make sure you are saving what you can, make sure you're putting it away, because I really think that this next year is really going to suck. And for a lot of people like me, I make a living on the internet right now. It's going to be okay for me. But like, if you don't have a side hustle of some sort, start thinking about it. There are so many resources out there that will help you utilize what you have right now to start some sort of side hustle. It doesn't have to be a big blown out thing. I started my business on the side while I was commuting to Boston for my full time job. I started it on the side little bit by little bit. And it grew into something that was able to sustain me before I started doing this. And um, so please, 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 you need to take care of yourself. You've got to start making plans. I'm serious. This next year is going to suck. And even if I'm completely wrong and it's the best economy ever, hey man, a side hustle is still a good thing to have. Elizabeth Barlow says, I know the situation isn't funny, but I wish the cyberpunk dystopia we live came with more neon and cool tech. Hollywood lied to us. Yeah. I wish we had like hoverboards and stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool. Valerie Rogers says, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. Okay. I'm listening says, oh my God, gulags, no doubt. Yep, that's what they want. TPS says racism is real. Calling everyone Nazis and collective guilt is not the solution. No, it is not. Spring Sogorn, thank you for the super chat. Dragon Water says the left can't see. They're literally taking pages out of Hitler's playbook. No, they can't. They can't. And I don't know if it's that they don't know history, or I don't know if they have blinders on. I don't know what it is, but you're absolutely right. We literally can't. Or they literally can't, rather. Elisa Gossage says, it's okay. We will sacrifice for your idealism. Warriors die so others are free to practice philosophy and free speech. Okay. Yeah, okay. And this is, again, the type of extremism and alarmism that I'm just not interested in. Elisa is part of the problem if that's the mentality. I'm sorry. Thank you for the super chat, but I don't agree with what you said. George Andre Veloso Nunez says, it feels like the dystopian setup for Ready Player One. The main source of money is the internet, and corporations have more power than the government. Yes, that's true, but you have to take care of yourself, guys. You have to be prepared to take care of yourself. And it is what it is. We have to deal with what we have. Tommy Sharp says, instead of a new party, what about the Libertarian Party? Thanks for what you do. The Libertarian Party is completely ineffectual, and I don't want to really be a part of it. No. They put up a presidential candidate that supported Black Lives Matter. Their presidential nominee 4 years before that also came out supporting Black Lives Matter. I don't want anything to do with that. No. No. They need to make, I don't know, man. Put Michael Malice in charge of the Libertarian Party and you might get my attention. But until something like that happens, absolutely not. No. Hillbilly Hart says Twitter wouldn't let Trump ban anyone because it disenfranchised them, but Twitter can do this to a whole nation. Twitter is now more powerful than the federal government. Twitter is now more powerful than any elected official. So is Facebook. So is Twitch. So is Shopify. All of the big tech companies that have banned the president of the United States in the last few days are now more powerful than any elected official than we have in this nation. And no one elected them. No one elected them. But we've given them that power. We've given them that power. The left gave them that power. And now it's going to be a hell of a thing to pull it back. Amanda, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Orthodox of USA, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Oh God, super chat jump. Sorry, hang on. Okay, I'm back. Salty Scotch says, thank you, Carlin. Your voice has helped many. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. Human Kirk says, ever hear of a KGB defector, Yuri Brezmenov? Of course I have. 30 years ago, he warned us about this. It looks like a crisis phase with normalization coming soon after. Yep. T-Bone, my brother in DC, now hundreds are marching peacefully. They're marching in DC right now? Okay. I don't think that's a good idea right now, but I will never say anything bad about people peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights. Are they marching in DC right now? Does anyone in the chat know? I'll keep an eye on the chat for an answer to that. Let me see. Cold Summer 91, I'm sorry you're getting worked up, Carlin. I'm not especially worked up, guys. I'm not especially worked up. You guys would believe me when I tell you, and my husband can attest to this, you would know if I was actually worked up. I am frustrated. I'm annoyed. I'm angry. But you haven't seen me worked up yet. You might see me worked up if this doesn't like settle down, but you have not seen it yet. Okay, Justin H says, I know they're marching in Sacramento. I mean, I guess it's Saturday. Like, I guess what did I expect? Of course, they're going to be marching. I don't know. Not Noir says, do unto others, agape love. Check out the Unists. Move past right left divide. Yep. Sixus One Media says, problem isn't people waking up on the left. It's the tech controls communication now and know how it feels and feel they can exert it with a complicit government. Well, I mean, I think that there are still ways to communicate with people on the left. I mean, the reality is that we still do have human relationships in this world, and we need to start utilizing those human relationships. Brian Taft says, what happened on the 6th was necessary to wake people up, just like Trump getting elected back in 2016. Not that I advocate violence. I mean, I agree with that to a very great extent. I think that and guys, I'm going to say this. I've been saying this the last couple of days. I've been kind of alluding to it for months, but I was not very clear and emphatic for the last couple of days. Joe Biden is going to be president, and we all need to accept that. I came to this conclusion not long after the election. I don't like it. I wanted to leave space for Trump to pull off a miracle, but I always thought Joe Biden was going to be president. And it is the way it is. And Sam King says, not my president. Okay, congratulations. You're become the left, man. Like, we have a choice. Are you going to become like the left in this scenario, or are you actually going to behave like an adult? This is a reality that people need to face. I'm so sick of people saying, oh, there's still hope. There's still hope. There's not. And we shouldn't want Trump to try to do any more. It's going to make the situation worse. This is a much bigger problem. This is a much bigger problem now than one person in one position in government. This is a much bigger problem now. And I am no longer going to go along with this idea. And if you want to, unsubscribe or like whatever because I say that, that's your business, but this is reality. The left has been in a case of the left has been deranged for years about reality. Now the right is deranged, and they have been for a while. You need to accept that Joe Biden is going to be president. It's just the way it is. And guess what, guys? When Trump got elected president, all the things that you're saying in the chat are things that were talked about on the left. When Donald Trump won, every single one of them. Every single one. So don't think that you're behaving any differently than they behaved 4 years ago, because I was on the left 4 years ago. I saw all this shit happening then, and I'm seeing it happen now. This is the way it is. Jord the Canadian says, what you are advocating for is reasonable, rational, and noble. Thank you. I think one step forward both sides can advocate for is Section 230 reform. I agree with that. Cold Summer 91 says, my full message didn't get into the chat. Not sure why. I'm sorry you're getting worked up, Carlin. This is frustrating for everyone. Thank you. Silently in Atlanta says, search John Lewis Twitter, May 11, 16 a.m., May 30th, 20. Rioting, looting, and burning is not the way. Screen cap this before it disappears. Get your vitamin D levels checked and addressed if low. My husband's actually been talking a lot about vitamin D lately, actually. Melody of the Seas, thank you for the super chat. Dragon Water, Back to the Future lied to us. They sure did, man. They sure did. Hang on. Sorry, super chat jump. Potbelly Punch says from gig economy to glib economy. Well, I don't want the economy to completely tank. And I think that and I said this yesterday on my live stream, and I know it'll probably be just as unpopular today, but I really hope that Joe Biden does not tank the economy. I hope that in terms of continuing to grow the economy, getting people back to work, he is successful. I hope he's successful in that. I do. And you all should. But make sure, don't count on it, and make sure you have your side hustle, man. Make sure you are building something up on your own. I have like 4 different streams of income right now. And that way, if one gets canceled, then I still have the others. And everyone should have that. It's just the smart thing to do. Human Kirk says, of course, the radical left knows history. They're literally taking a page from Stalin. Look up salami tactics. Still, peace and solidarity won in 1989. Dragonwater says, righteousness can justify anything. It's a road to tyranny. Yep. Alex Oakley says, it's more like the show Continuum, kind of freaky. I'm in Ohio and people are panic buying today. Dr. Carlin, I'm a photographer. I'd gladly be your personal photographer. Dude, I hate having my picture taken. I hate it. I do need some good headshots, though. I need some good photos of myself. So maybe, Alex, send me an email and we'll see what's up. Josh Harrison says, no one wants to be the one to say it, but revolution is the only way out, and we all know it. We revolted from England for way less reasons. I don't agree with that, Josh. I think it's only the only way out if you believe that. Michael Vance says, I appreciate your honesty about both sides. Rin Wesley says, I've been complaining forever that Americans don't make their own stuff. Develop a skill, folks. Make stuff and prioritize Americans who do. That's exactly correct. Taglatale says, before email, people actually sent letters to each other. Reagan, even though email was still starting, still wrote letters to people, so buy stamps. Carla Chafin, thank you for the super chat. Dragonwater said something. The not my president thing started on the right during Obama. Well, there is no reason to bring it back. At some point, we need to start accepting the goddamn president of the United States. And whether or not you believe the election was fair, and I certainly have my opinions on that, and I've made them very clear, we need to accept that Joe Biden is going to be president regardless of whether it was fair or not. This needs to stop. It needs to stop. It has gotten way out of hand, and I wanted investigations into what happened. I still think there should be investigations into what happened, regardless of when Biden takes office. It doesn't matter. I think there should still be investigations into what happened. I think people should still push. They should still fight for those audits. They should still fight for every single part of this. That fight doesn't have to stop. Now, is it ideal? No. But it is what it is. And at some point, you have to say that for the sake of the country, you need to stop. You need to stop. You need to know when to retreat. Salty Scotch says, thanks for the wake-up call. I'm listening, says, so who's running the pool? How long before Joe's bye-bye? LOL, I say 6 weeks. God help us when Kamala's in charge. Yeah, I'm significantly more scared of Kamala Harris than I am of Joe Biden, I'll tell you that. Carol Bailey says, no one is coming to save us. We must use the opportunity to reassert our power as individuals and do our part. We are good people. We are Americans, and we are better than this. Yes, I agree with that, but I want to emphasize that asserting your power has got to be nonviolent. It has to be. Because a few idiots can take down the rest of us. And I don't want that to happen. I will never, ever, ever, ever support violence. Katie Mogg says, delete social media. They won't see us or hear from us. Well, it hurts them where it matters most. I do not agree with that, guys. I'm sorry. I do not agree with that. I am not deleting my Twitter account. I'm not deleting my Facebook account. And I frankly don't think anyone else should either. I think it's being cowardly. I think it's running with your tail between your legs. And I think we need to be stronger than that. In order to fight the battle, we need to be where the battle is fought. Taking your toys and going home is such an excuse. You are not hurting them. You are not hurting them in the way that you think you are. You are not. It is a lie. JJ, thank you for the sticker. And then Sequitur Tenebris says, Dr. K for president, make America sane again. Dude, I don't want that job. I do not want that job. I'll tell you that. Do not want it. Congress, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I'm seriously thinking about it. I do not think the Republicans in my state would like it. But I also know that I have a lot of connections and people that would come and campaign for me and can fundraise on a national level if I want to. And so they may not have a choice. So we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. I've already reached out to Scott Pressler to talk about it. And I will be giving him a call next week. I just want to take like the weekend to decompress. I was going to run and then I decided I didn't want to. And now it's like, I almost feel like people have to step up. But I have some serious thinking to do if I'm going to do that. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, someone says Carlin for Senate in the chat. I mean, there's a congressional seat that I in my home district that the representative is Chris Pappas, and so it might be against him, but I actually have considered there's going to be a senator in my state that's up for re-election in the next cycle. I have actually considered that too. But we're going to see. We're going to see. Dr. K for Secretary of Yard. I would be knitting in Congress. You'd see me at the State of the Union. I'd be like, have my knitting needles out. That would absolutely happen, by the way. If I ever get into Congress, I'm absolutely 100% bringing my knitting to the State of the Union. That is absolutely happening. You'll be able to see. They'll zoom in on me on the TV because I'll be the only one knitting. That'd be great. All right, I got a couple more super chats. So let me just take those real quick. 2 guys in masks took Pelosi's laptop and walked out. They shouldn't have done that. I don't condone that. But I'm not going to lie. I think it's going to be interesting to see what comes of that. But I don't condone that. They shouldn't have done that. Hi, HYDRP X says, you have to let them keep their Facebook and Twitters. Go outside, people. Whatever you love, they will use it to control you. Demolisher01 says, the only way to hurt social media is to put the pressure on advertisers the way the left does. Dude, like, Twitter doesn't even make that much money from advertising, dude. Like, I don't know what you guys think you're hurting by deleting your Twitter accounts. I really don't. They're banning hundreds of thousands of people. Do you think they're scared? I don't think they are. They're not afraid of this. This is not part of their decision making. MJ says, my dad instilled in me to buy American made, buy local at small shops. I'm done with big chains like Starbucks, etc., even though I love their coffee. Donna Fiore says, well, the thing about coffee is there's so many conservative coffee companies now, like Krigler Coffee, Adams Coffee Company, which he claims is amazing. He has yet to send me any of his coffee, but I have actually heard from people that have bought Adams Coffee and say it's awesome. So I'm waiting. Adam, I'm waiting for my coffee. God damn it. Someone says, what happened to MySpace? Oh, guys, let me show you this. Let me show you this. This was like, this made my night last night. Hang on. I hope it's still up. Okay, so this is, of course, Tom from MySpace, who is all our friend, and then we abandoned him. And look what Tom tweeted for the first time, his first tweet in like 2.5 years. Look what Tom tweeted last night. We all have to go back and join MySpace. We do. We need to go back and reactivate our MySpace accounts. It would be, guys, it would be like the biggest FU in the world if we all went and joined MySpace. Can you believe that? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna join MySpace. I'm gonna join MySpace right after this. Yes, Wild Rose says make MySpace great again. MySpace. I loved, guys. Okay, so fun fact. I actually, back in the day before Facebook opened up its platform to everyone, I was blogging about politics on MySpace during the George W. Bush administration. MySpace used to have a really powerful blogging platform for politics. And so I was actually consistently one of the top political bloggers on MySpace before MySpace died a horrible and terrible death. But that is 100% true. I wonder if all my crazy liberal rantings, because I literally called my MySpace. Oh God, I wonder if it's still up. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check and see if it's still up before I tell you guys what it was. Nope, not found. Okay, my MySpace handle was like, it was like crazy liberal was actually my MySpace handle. So I am on board. We need to go back. We need to make MySpace great again. All right. Donna Fiore says the left is screwed by mainstream media and big tech too. Some may know it, and it's important that we show them by being their mirror to their own hypocrisy. Yep. Clarita says, I agree on nonviolence. Oh, hang on, super chat jump. I agree on nonviolence, but not all violence is physical. And this whole year left me felt psychologically violent to me. I agree with that. I know this was an emotionally traumatizing year. But the only way that things get better, guys, is we have to do that work internally. We have to do it internally. The only person who can give you internal security is you. That's it. You have to take care of yourself. You have to build yourself up. You have to love yourself. You have to say nice things about yourself. You have to know that you are a valuable person. Start meditating. Start meditating. Meditation will help you. Dragonwater says, sorry, I wouldn't legally be allowed to vote for you for Congress or Senate. Well, we don't want anyone voting illegally, but Red Pill Princess says, put out a call to walk away to make videos for peace using the number KM doing that very thing. That's actually a really good idea. That's a really good idea. I'm actually going to text that to Brandon. We have a walk away group text, so I'm going to text that in. That is a really, really, really good idea. I'm listening says, I love sending you money. Well, guys, I really do appreciate the financial support. It's the way I'm able to make this stuff work, and I do appreciate the donations. I've seen an uptick in donations in the past couple of days, and I really can't tell you how much it means to me. It makes me feel a lot better and safer. But the best way to support me, honestly, and I'm going to keep harping on this, join my locals as a supporter. $5 a month or more if you want to. You can give whatever you want, but it starts at $5 a month. That community to me is the most valuable because I know it's never going to be censored. I know it's never going to be banned, and that I can rely on regular income from that community. And it's just, I cannot tell you how much it helps me. I do try to do a lot with my local supporters. I do Zoom calls with them twice a week. We are doing activities. We're doing book club. We're going to do other stuff this year. So the very best thing you can do to help support me is join my locals for $5 a month as a supporter. You also get all my videos ad free, and it'll be on a platform that I trust is never going to cancel me. And of course, super chats on YouTube, membership on YouTube. This is all great too. Continuing to watch my videos, suffering through the ads, all that good stuff. All of that helps too. But my locals is the most reliable place that I have that I know is not going to be censored or banned. So that is my preference. Heather Gyrone, Tom wouldn't have done this to us. No, Tom was our friend. Tom was our friend and we abandoned him. Queen of Spades, thank you for the sticker. Melinda says, the good old days of MySpace, simpler times. Isn't it the truth? Ashton Christopher says, do you think the censorship will go beyond the social media sphere of immediate influence and it will extend to hosting sites and censoring websites? I think we have only begun to see the start of the censoring. That's all. We are only going to. This is only just begun, guys. They're now being empowered. They're being emboldened. They're seeing they can get away with it. This has only just begun. The man behind the screen says, F it, raise MySpace from the dead. This could be fun. I really want to do this. I want all of us to go back to MySpace. I think that this is the best and funniest possible solution. Elizabeth Barlow says, who would have thought our friend Tom would save us? I tweeted at him last night. I was like, Tom, we need you to be the hero that we need right now. Chris Carson says, we will get through this. Faith in God, love your neighbor, and do unto others as you would be done by. Guys, remember, we have had darker times in American history than we have right now. We've had darker times. We will get through this, but only if people start to de-escalate. Honestly, that's all we can do. And socialism is for figs. I haven't seen you in a while. People telling people not to use extreme words online means they will manifest in the physical, so just let people speak. I agree with that. And Scoop of Truth says, history repeats, divide and conquer, LGBTQ, Me Too, BLM, political party. Keep us infighting so we are all distracted to the real threat. Unite as Americans. So far as I'm concerned, the biggest threat that we are facing right now is the media, and it is big tech. And those are the things that we need to fight against. And when I say fight, because now I need to be clear about this, I mean nonviolence. I mean fighting with ideas. I mean peacefully protesting. I mean standing up for what you believe in. And that's who the real enemy is the media and big tech. Dragonwater says, I will make a MySpace account to follow you there. I'm going to make a MySpace account as soon as I get off this stream. That is going to be my very next thing. Queen of Spades says, if you choose to run for office in New Hampshire, I will definitely vote for you. Papas is trash, so is Shaheen. Well, it might happen, guys. I am slowly moving in that direction. Know that if I do it, I will not lie to you. I will be transparent. I'm not going to stop doing YouTube. I'll tell you that right now. I have a YouTube channel and I intend to use it if I run for office. And I don't want to be a politician. I've never wanted to be a politician, obviously. But I think that it is important that people in office don't want to be career politicians. And if I were to run for office, it is not going to be a career. It would be for a term or two. And then I would go on to do other things. I'm saying that on video because if I make this decision, I want people to hold me to it, because I have never had a desire to be a politician in my life. And if I go down this route, it is going to be because I believe it is a necessary evil. And I believe that we need to bring honest people back in. And I am willing to step in for a moment to help right what I think is a wrong and to help get things back on the right track. But we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. All right, guys, I just got a couple more super chats. The man behind the screen says, we're doing it by, I think, boys. Get your MySpace on. Do it. Do it, guys. Get on MySpace. Do it. Dragonwater says the human race needs to unite as people, not as governments. Yes. Ashley Clare says, MySpace was great. It would be a non-violent and funny solution. The biggest FU. I think my old account is still up. Well, guys, let's all go register for MySpace right now. If you haven't yet, please hit that thumbs up button on the way out the door. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. Please. It really helps me out. I will be doing, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I have no idea for content for the week right now. It's going to come together. But I'm going to sign off now because I'm losing my voice. And I want to go sign up for MySpace and then go and relax and do some knitting. So I hope you guys all have a great weekend. And let's keep going.